Hey guys, this is Andrew from Shadowware here. I'm going to be talking about the Rifts Beta Event 3 that I got to partake in this weekend. I'm mostly going to be looking at all the UI features of the game and going over all the different aspects of that. Starting off, I adjusted down the global UI scale, and now I'm going to add a couple hotbars. Now what you look at is I'm going to be trying to set up my entire layout. If you've played Warhammer Online, you're really familiar with their extremely customizable UI layout. Rifts took a note from their paid playbook and decided to do something very similar where you can move each unique and individual piece around and customize the size through an interface box on the left side there. They also had a nice little feature called docking, where you can see exactly where each piece is going to dock next to another one and where it's going to grow off of, so it kind of adds a nice little extra layer of functionality. The team over at Trion did a really great job with Rifts in taking bits and pieces from all the different various games out there and polishing them and making them their own. And you'll see that that's probably because of so many different players and so many different developers that have come from many different games that lend insight and their own particular take on the game. Right now what you're looking at is the hotbar interface. They've added a nice little feature where instead of adjusting it through a list of each hotbar and each hotbar button, you hover your mouse over each button and then press the button that you want to be key bound to that particular button, and it automatically does it. It threw me off at first because I didn't really know how to do this, and I was looking around looking for a traditional method of doing it, and I was completely unable to find it. But I found that once this was set up, it was pretty intuitive. What you're looking at now is the map, the overworld map for the entire game. As you see, as I hover over each little piece, there's sometimes pictures, but there's always a little bit of a text box in the tooltip telling you what each thing is. That can get pretty hectic, as you see right now, when you've got a lot of invasions and rifts on the map, because it shows where each of the different invasions are moving, so it can get pretty cluttered. Right now I'm partaking in a rift, which is very similar to the PQs from War. If you'll see the radial, flashing radial circle on the right, it's got a timer as well as a bar. The bar is the indicator of how much kind of contribution you have, kind of similar to the contribution from War, but the timer shows how much time is left in each stage, and below it you can see the public quest objectives that need to be completed. When there's a lot of rifts and invasions all in the same proximity, it's very easy for the things to overlap and for you to hop back and forth between the two of them. So it can get a little bit crazy and chaotic at times, but it is a very interesting air. If you'll notice on the radio button, I just tried to click a bag, and that's the loot for the PQ. You automatically get assigned all the loot based upon your contribution. It gets delivered directly to you. There's no clicking on a box or anything like that. So it's a pretty quick method of obtaining your fat loots from your efforts. If you've ever played EQ2, you're probably familiar with the collection quest in the game. It's kind of a metagame throughout the entire series, and it's been a lot of fun, and this is the interface window for that in Rifts. What you're seeing here now is my first foray into the world of a raid in the game of Rifts. The interface window for the different parties is each movable. There's not a special interface layout that you can do, but each one is kind of attached to the one above it, so you can move each piece individually and set them around however you want to go, as long as after you detach them. I'm not a particular fan of the way that they are displayed. They seem a little bit big and cumbersome to me, and they also don't give a whole lot of information when you're trying to get anything that might be pertinent to a fight. So it's not the greatest in the world, but this is one neat little aspect. As you can see, each of the names flashing means that somebody's taking damage. So that's a kind of a nice indicator, like, hey, heal this person. So that's one nice aspect of it. If you played Rifts, you're familiar with their chaining skills together and the ability that pops up in the screen. Rifts does similar things here with reactive ones, as you just saw. Now you see the group window, loot window. Very similar, need, greed, and pass. Where I'm at now is the end of a big event for the evening. That was a massive invasions that were taking over the assault on the Defiant base of Meridian. As you can see in the target window, it's got a bunch of spikes around the icon and the frame for the enemy that I'm attacking, and that's to let you know that it's an encounter that's geared for more than just one player. The biggest thing that I disliked about the UI is the debuffs and the stacking of dots and other detrimental effects on a target. There was no way to limit that I could find the number of rows that were displayed, and so this massive amount of abilities were just pushed down across my screen, covering everything up to where I couldn't see. If I was a person who clicked my hotkeys, this would be a big problem for me. When it was all done and over with, I was collecting my loot and going about my way, and I found a really neat interface tool for ends of big events and things like that that they would be using to distribute the loot and the big rewards for completing big tasks. And you can see at the top there that I click, it's just a special reward for finishing. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys in future videos that I do covering the PvP of Rifts.